I'm a woman, and I was in college when this happened. I'm only saying that up front because it matters. I was young, I was alone, and I didn't have that I've seen everything confidence yet. I was just trying to get from point A to point B without making it a big deal. It was the end of a long week. Papers, work, the usual. And I'd stayed later than I meant to. I was heading to my sister's place for the weekend. Not far, but far enough that it was mostly freeway, and then a stretch of road that gets pretty empty once you're out of the city lights. I'd done the route in daylight plenty of times. At night, it always felt longer. My car was nothing fancy. Older sedan, a little sun-faded. It ran fine, but it was the kind of car where every small noise makes you pay attention when you're alone. The heat worked, the radio worked, and I had just over half a tank. I remember thinking, okay, I'm good. I'll be there before it gets too late. I merged onto the freeway and settled into that late-night driving rhythm. Music low, windows up, heater on my feet. I had a coffee in the cup holder that had gone cold, but I kept sipping it anyway because it made me feel awake. It wasn't snowing or anything, just a normal cold night. Clear sky, that black kind of darkness you only get once you're out past the last of the streetlights. About 40 minutes in, traffic thinned out until it was basically me, a few semis, and the occasional headlights way off in the opposite lanes. That's when I noticed a set of headlights behind me. At first, it didn't register as anything. A car came up and stayed behind me. Normal. I was in the right lane, cruising a few miles over, not doing anything weird. Then the brights flashed. I glanced in the mirror and immediately looked away because it was blinding. My first thought was, oh great, someone forgot their brights are on. But they weren't on steady. It was like a deliberate flash, then back to normal headlights. A few seconds later, it flashed again. And this time it didn't feel like an accident. It felt like a signal. I did that quick scan you do without thinking. Check the dash, no warning lights. The car felt normal. No vibration, no pulling, nothing that screamed, tire is about to fall off. The brights flashed again. 3 quick flashes in a row. I remember my stomach dropping, not because I thought I was about to get attacked right then, but because I hate that feeling of not knowing what someone wants from you on the road. Like, are they trying to warn you? Are they mad? Are they messing with you? I slid a little farther right in my lane to give them room to pass. They didn't pass. They stayed the same distance behind me and flashed again. I turned my music off. I always do that when I'm nervous. Like silence will help me think. I said out loud, "What are you doing?" I sped up a little to see if they'd drop back. They matched me. I eased off. They matched that too. I grabbed my phone off the passenger seat and checked the battery. 18%. I felt that little stab of annoyance at myself. I'd been using it earlier and never plugged it in. My charger was somewhere in my backpack in the back seat, and I wasn't about to start digging around while I had a car behind me acting like that. I opened my map anyway. There was an exit coming up in a few miles. Not a real town, more like one of those freeway exits with a gas station, maybe a fast food place, maybe a motel. I stared at it and thought, if I have to stop, I want it to be somewhere with lights and cameras, not on the shoulder. Behind me, the brights flashed again, longer this time, like they were holding them. I moved over in my lane again, basically offering them a pass like, go around me, please. They still didn't pass. They drifted slightly left, like they were trying to be in my mirrors, then flashed again. And at that point, it was hard not to interpret it as, pull over. I called my sister, not because she could do anything, but because I needed another person in the world besides me and whoever was behind me. It rang, then went to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail again. I texted her, "You up?" Driving. Something weird behind me. The exit got closer. I put my blinker on early and moved into the right lane. I watched my mirror and waited for the relief of them continuing straight. They moved into the right lane too. Okay. I took the exit. They took the exit. The ramp curved down and the freeway noise faded behind us. Up ahead was that lonely strip of light in the distance, businesses sitting off the road like an island. I stayed on the main road toward the lights. The SUV stayed behind me, close enough now that I could tell it was a bigger SUV. Dark, tinted windows. I couldn't see inside. Then it honked. Just a short honk, not road rage, more like a reminder. The brights flashed again, so I pulled into the gas station. There were a couple cars at pumps, a semi parked off to the side, cab light on. The store was lit, not busy, but not empty either. I pulled up to a pump near the front, close to the store windows. The SUV followed me in and stopped behind me. Not at a pump, not in a spot, just behind me, angled slightly. My whole body went cold. I didn't get out. I locked my doors again, even though they were probably already locked, and I watched my mirror. The driver door opened and a man got out. He didn't rush me. He walked at a normal pace with his hands down, like he was trying to look calm on purpose. He stopped a few feet from my window, far enough back that, from inside the store, it probably wouldn't look like he was cornering me. He leaned in slightly and talked through the glass like he assumed I'd just roll the window down. I shook my head. He smiled. Not friendly, more like, "Come on," and pointed toward the back of my car, then down at my tire. He tapped the glass lightly with one knuckle. I cracked the window maybe half an inch, just enough to hear him. "Hey," he said, "your rear tire's throwing sparks. You've got something caught back there. You needed to pull over. I saw it on the freeway." I stared at him. "What?" He nodded like I was being difficult. "Rear passenger side. I was behind you. I saw it. It's scraping. You didn't feel it?" "No," I said. He shrugged. "You might not yet, but you will. Just get out and look. I can show you." Something about the way he said "show you" made my skin crawl. Like I was supposed to follow him around to the back of my car and stand there with my guard down while he helped. I didn't move. I looked past him toward the store. The cashier was behind the counter, looking over. Not making a scene, just paying attention. The man followed my gaze and looked back at me. "It's okay," he said. "I'm just trying to help you out." "I'll call someone," I said. His expression tightened for half a second, like that wasn't the response he wanted. "You don't need to call anybody," he said. "It'll take 2 seconds. Just hop out." "I'm not getting out," I said. He let out a short laugh like I was being ridiculous. "You can't drive like that." "I'll have someone check it," I said, nodding toward the store. His smile went flat. He leaned in a little closer, still careful not to look aggressive to anyone watching. "I'm telling you," he said, lower, "it's sparking. You don't want to start a fire under your car." It sounded rehearsed, like a line. I remember thinking, how is a tire throwing sparks? It's rubber. If something metal was scraping bad enough to spark, I'd hear it. I'd feel it. None of it added up. Instead, he just kept pushing the same thing. Get out and look. And that's when it really clicked that this wasn't about my car. It was about getting me away from my locked doors. I swallowed and forced my voice to stay calm. "Okay, I'm going to pull closer to the store and ask them." His eyes flicked to my hands on the steering wheel. For a second, I thought he might step forward and block my car, but he backed up, lifting his hands like, "Fine. Do what you want," he said. "I'm just trying to help." I put the car in drive and rolled forward to the front of the store where the lights were brighter and the cameras were obvious. The SUV didn't move at first. Then it rolled forward too, just enough to still be behind me. The man walked around the back of my car like he was inspecting something. He crouched by my rear passenger tire for a second. From inside the car, I couldn't see what he was doing, and that bothered me more than anything. Then he stood, looked toward the store, and went back to his SUV. He got in, and he didn't leave. He just sat there, engine running, headlights off. I tried calling 911 and it wouldn't even hold the call. No service. Then I noticed the Wi-Fi sticker on the door and went, okay, that's my move. I got out and went inside. Do you have Wi-Fi? Yeah, he said. My phone doesn't have service. He leaned forward and lowered his voice. Are you with him? That question hit me like a punch, because it meant it looked exactly as bad as it felt. No, I said. He followed me. He nodded once, like he already knew. Password's on the door, he said. It's free. I connected right there at the counter. My hands were shaking enough that I typed it wrong the first time. As soon as it connected, I called 911. I kept my voice as steady as I could. I gave the operator the exit number and the gas station name. I said I'd been followed off the freeway by a vehicle flashing brights. The driver tried to get me out of my car, and now he was still sitting outside. The operator asked what he said. I told her the tire spark story. There was a pause on the line that made my skin prickle. Stay inside, she said. Do not go back out. Okay. She asked for a description. Dark SUV, tinted windows, a man, average build. I hated how little I could give her because I realized I hadn't really looked at him. I'd been too focused on not engaging. The cashier slid a bottle of water toward me without a word. I stood near the counter, staring out the windows like I could will the SUV to leave. Then the SUV backed out. For a split second, I felt relief. And then it didn't leave the station. It moved to the darker side lot and parked there instead, like it was repositioning where it could wait without being as visible. I told the operator, he moved, he's still here. Officers are on the way, she said. I asked how long. A few minutes. A few minutes is a long time when you can see something waiting for you. Then another car pulled in. It didn't go to a pump. It rolled into the side lot where the SUV was parked. Headlights off. Parked. My mouth went dry. There's another car, I said, quiet. It just parked by him. The cashier muttered, nope, under his breath, walked to the door and locked it. The bell above the door jingled softly, and that tiny sound felt completely wrong for how big my fear suddenly got. Outside, both vehicles just sat there. Nobody got out. Nobody moved. They were waiting. And what I couldn't stop thinking was, they want me outside. Not he. They. The operator kept me talking, keeping me anchored. I watched my phone battery tick down in the corner like a timer. Finally, headlights swung into the station, a patrol car. It pulled in without lights at first. The second it turned into the lot, the SUV started moving. The other car moved too. The patrol car's lights snapped on. Both cars rolled out of the station like they were trying to leave casually, and the patrol car took off after them, lights bright now, disappearing down the road in seconds. The store went quiet like the whole building exhaled. I didn't realize I was shaking until my teeth started chattering. The operator told me to stay put. Another unit was coming to check on me. A few minutes later, a second patrol car pulled in. An officer came inside, calm and polite in that way that tells you he's trying to bring the temperature down. He asked me to tell him what happened. I told him everything. The brights, the exit, the sparks story, the way the guy parked behind me, the second car showing up. He asked if the man touched my car or made threats. No, I said. He just kept trying to get me out. The officer nodded like that was enough to understand what kind of situation it was. He said I did the right thing by choosing a lit place and going inside. He asked if I wanted to drive to my sister's place or follow him to the station to make a report. I looked outside. The lot was bright and normal again. Then I looked at my phone battery, and I realized I didn't want to be alone in my car yet, so I went to the station. I followed the officer the whole way, gripping the wheel so hard my hands hurt. Every time headlights came up behind me, my stomach flipped until I could see it was just a normal car passing. At the station, they took my statement. They were kind, but honest in that way that sits heavy in your chest. They said they'd try to find the vehicles. Sometimes they did. Sometimes they didn't. One of the officers said something that stuck with me more than anything else. He said, "They wanted you stopped in the dark." Not, "That guy was weird." Not, "Maybe he was trying to help." They wanted you stopped in the dark. I made it to my sister's place close to morning. She opened the door, saw my face, and just hugged me without asking questions first. I didn't sleep. I sat on her couch with a blanket around my shoulders, replaying those bright flashes in my mirror. Because the part that still gets me is how simple it was. No chase, no dramatic moment where I fought someone, just a normal-looking SUV, a calm voice, and a story that sounded helpful enough that if you were tired and alone and trying to be polite, you might believe it. If I'd pulled over on the shoulder when the brights first started flashing, if I'd gotten out to check my tire because someone just wanted to help, I don't know what would have happened. And I think that's why it stayed with me. After that, I stopped doing late-night drives alone if I could avoid it. And if I couldn't avoid it, I kept my phone charged, I picked my stops ahead of time, and I never, ever pulled over for someone flashing their brights. Because maybe sometimes people really are trying to warn you. But that night taught me something I wish I'd learned in a nicer way. Sometimes they're not warning you. Sometimes they're trying to get you to stop. And once you do, you might not get to decide what happens next.